on OPB.
Need to step back for a moment. Of course, we're going to be checking in with all of our reporters. Take a look at this. Wilma is about 100 miles west of Key West, Florida, and about 160 miles southwest of Naples. Because of the sheer size of this storm, hurricane winds will be felt across the southern tip of Florida. Already, many tornado watches and warnings have been issued. Now, landfall. That's expected between 6 and 7 o'clock Eastern this morning, and Wilma is expected to be in the Atlantic by noon, so that shows you how fast this storm is moving. Good morning, everybody, from the CNN Center in Atlanta. We want to welcome you to this coverage, our rolling coverage of a hurricane named Wilma, a powerful one. I'm Betty Nguyen. Thanks for being with us.
And I'm Tony Harris. Welcome to our extended overnight hours coverage of Hurricane Wilma.
I want to get the latest now on Wilma, where this hurricane is heading. Now, Chad Myers joins us. He's our weather expert. Chad, did that 2 o'clock advisory come out?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for it. Really, all the 2 o'clock is a position estimate. The next real advisory is 3 a.m. and then another one at 5 a.m. Doing them every 2 hours now rather than every 3 hours, and as it gets closer, they may even do them every hour by the hour. But here's the storm itself. Here's the eye of the center coming right on through here south of Fort Myers to the north probably of Florida Bay. But that means that the worst part of the eye wall right down here is really headed to Key West, I'm afraid. Here's what it looks like now on the live Doppler radar. There's Key West itself, a very large squall now headed over the dry Tortugas. The maximum wind in Key West 51, but the maximum gust was just 77, and that is a hurricane strength gust. Marathon now 48 miles per hour, and farther up to the north around Marco Island at 35 miles per hour. This is a wide storm extending its arms all the way. It's raining in Georgia, and it's raining in Havana. So we go for a couple from a state across the Florida Straits, even into the next country. There's the cloud cover. Here it comes, coming in from the southwest to the northeast, even east-northeast, now 18, maybe 20 miles per hour, picking up speed as it crashes across South Florida. I know we talked a lot, and we have been talking a lot about the west coast of Florida, but the east coast is going to be equally damaged with this as the storm comes across, and the eye wall is somewhere through here. Remember, there's still a cone yet, but we pretty much know where it's going now. Somewhere just south of the eye, there will still be 110 mile per hour winds coming in from the south and from the west along those east coast cities. An area in really a direction that you don't expect. Everybody's boarded up and ready for an east coast storm. This is actually a west coast storm that's not going to slow down much because the Everglades, well, one, they're not bumpy, there's no mountains out there, and there's still very warm water in the Everglades, so this storm is not going to lose a lot of intensity.
That
Back to you
spells
guys.
trouble. Okay, Chad, we'll be checking in with you. Thank you.
Betty, Key West. Deteriorating conditions.
This is we heard, yeah.
CNN's Gary Tuckman. Gary, you're right there. Brace yourself, my friend, if you can.
Tony and Betty, I'm doing the best to brace myself, and so far we've succeeded, but you're right, the conditions over the past hour have deteriorated very much. It has become a very unpleasant morning, and we anticipate it will become more unpleasant as the hours go on. Key West, Florida, up until 2.5 hours ago, there were still people on bicycles and skateboards going down this street. This is Duval Street here in downtown Key West. We've had sustained tropical force, storm force winds now for a couple of hours, and as Chad just said, we've had the hurricane force gusts coming in. And Chad told us a little while ago that 2 or 3 hours from now we're expecting the worst of it here. Right now there is flooding in some of the city, this southernmost city in the continental United States, but nothing out of the ordinary according to the police men and women we've been talking to tonight. They're still out on the streets, and they'll continue going out on the streets until the sustained winds are over hurricane force, and then they give up for the evening. They go back to the police station. Anyone who's here who's decided not to evacuate, and there is a mandatory evacuation, is on their own. There will be no helping people. There are no hospitals open in the Keys. The nearest shelter is 150 miles away at Florida International University, which is in Miami. That's where people were supposed to go when the mandatory evacuation took place. And not only are the people who live here, many of the natives, very proud. They call them conchs affectionately, and they're so proud they don't want to leave, a lot of them tell us. But the fact is, it's very hard to get to the shelters. It's a long way away, 150 miles. It's not like you can go 8 or 9 miles inland like we've seen during Katrina and Rita, and that's why so many of the 28,000 people are still here. But this is going to be a really rough morning. We can tell. We've been in Katrina and Rita in the last 8 weeks, and it's the beginning of a real tough time. Tony, back to you.
So, Gary, you know, over the next couple of hours, we're going to sit here, and we're going to watch this thing roll in on you You're standing up as straight as you can right now. In a couple of hours, you'll be crouching down, trying to do everything you can to stay below the wind. And we're just going to sit here and watch this happen to you.
This is the perfect opportunity, Tony, to tell our viewers right now are probably saying, why are you even out there?
Yeah.
You know, and it's really important for us to point out that that's our jobs, to observe conditions. And then some people say to me, well, why don't you just leave the camera out there? You don't have to be out there. Well, the cameraman who operates the camera, he has to be out here too. So that's our job. We do not, and it's so important because we have families too. We do not take unnecessary risks. We know where to set up next to very sturdy buildings. We know how to be careful, but that's part of our job. Whether it's a war, whether it's a hurricane, we have to be where the action is to show you what's going on.
Gary Tuckman, doing his job, doing it well. Gary, thank you.
He is doing it very well. We're going to check in with another man who's doing his job very well, John King. He is in Marco Island, and he has the latest on the conditions there. John, seems like winds are picking up a bit.
Winds are picking up, Betty. We think in the high 30s now, perhaps some gusts a little bit more than that. Nowhere near what Gary Tuckman is feeling at the moment in Key West. But that is the big question here in Marco Island. When that storm turns to the north as it passes Key West, how far north will it come? The expectation now is that it will hit land when it hits the peninsula south of here, but they are bracing here. And the big key difference, you just heard Gary talking about how so many of the residents of Key West have decided to stay. What local officials are happy about here as they brace for this storm is that they believe 20,000 people were on the island when the evacuation order was issued over the weekend. They believe 90% or more, so have left 2,000 or fewer people now on Marco Island. Hard to see in the dark like this. This is the tip of Marco Island, largely a resort condominium community now, hotels stretching up here. The Gulf is less than 100 yards, maybe 75 yards behind me. The waves are beginning to intensify, but again, we are in the very early stages where we are now. Gary experiencing hurricane conditions. It's getting gusty here now. The rain has certainly picked up and is much more steady. The question is how much of a storm surge, which of course will be determined by just how close Wilma comes when she turns to the north. They say they could get a storm surge anywhere between 7 to 9 feet, perhaps higher than that if it hits more closely. That is the biggest concern because there are so many canals here, a very low water table. You see this sturdy brush, sturdy vegetation down here by the water. You can see more water building up down below it. And we're just starting now. We're still a few hours away from the worst conditions, a few hours, maybe 3 or 4 even.
Yeah, you
Betty?
say you're just starting right now, but I have to ask you, though, as this storm comes ashore, have you started to begin to see some of the power outages that always seem to happen when a hurricane comes ashore?
Not as yet, and we were told by the city manager earlier today to expect the entire island to get knocked out. He said at a Category 1, and this will come ashore as a Category 2, perhaps even a Category 3, he said in a Category 1, almost always the power here would get knocked out. That is one of the reasons they wanted to get everybody off the island. You have to, of course, go over a bridge or a causeway to get off Marco Island, but they're also making plans to reopen as quickly as possible. They are not closing the bridges, I should make that clear, but they are trying to keep people who have left from coming back on. As of now, I'm seeing lights in the hotel where we are. You can see lights stretching down the beaches. We'll keep watching that as the storm intensifies over the next couple of hours. The expectation is we will see dark quite soon.
Well, the good news, as you mentioned, about 90% of the people who live there did evacuate, right. So glad to hear that. John King, thank you.
To Fort Myers now, and meteorologist Rob Marciano. And Rob, good to see you, my friend. Is it your sense now that the main event, relatively speaking, is going to be a bit south of you?
Yes, well, that's where the worst part of the storm is going to come on shore, that's for sure. The deal with this storm, though, is the wind field is expanding, and we've seen wind and rain now expand into our area for the past several hours. So, unlike Charlie, which was a Category 4 storm that made that right turn up the road into Punta Gorda last year, it was a pretty tight storm, although a stronger storm. The wind field was smaller, and like Tampa, didn't see anything. And we're relatively about as far away from the center of this storm as Tampa was to Charlie. And we've still been seeing very stormy weather for the past couple of hours. So the main event as far as the strongest winds and the biggest storm surge is going to be south of us. Storm surge is something that's not necessarily a place you want to be, trust me. So to be on the good side, the clean side as we like to call in the business, the left side of the storm where you have the winds blowing offshore, pushing the Atlantic Ocean, or in this case the Gulf of Mexico, out to sea where it belongs, that's having... You know, that's having the better part of a bad deal, I suppose. We will see gusty winds that will create some damage, because you get winds over 50 miles an hour, and that's the level we start to see branches fly off the trees, power lines start to come down, and in some cases structural damage to some of the buildings around here. So there will be damage here, to say the least. But most of the heavier damage, should that forecast track verifies, be down to the south. Nonetheless, there have been mandatory evacuation orders for many of the barrier islands across Lee County and just to the west of Fort Myers. Fort Myers, if you don't know, sits about 10-15 miles inland. And right now, Fort Myers, where we are in Fort Myers Beach, well, it's pretty much the beach close to the ocean. So we're about right now 20 yards from the bank of the ocean, but the storm surge is not expected to come here. It'll head farther down to the south. We've been getting waves of rain and wind all night long. Now we're kind of in a lull, but we haven't had a complete stoppage of the wind or the rain like we were earlier on. It's been fairly steady going on throughout the night. But the fact that it has been raining steadily for several hours now, with the storm as far away as it is, Tony and Betty, it really gives you a sense for just how big this storm is, how wide the wind field is, and at least for me, how wide that rain field is. And if this thing was moving slower, like when it was hitting the Yucatan Peninsula, we'd be talking about flooding issues like they had in Mexico. But because it is picking up speed, this is going to be more of a wind event for Florida than a rain event, and that's good news because they're completely waterlogged from this past hurricane and rain season. So they'll get this hurricane in and get it out quickly, and they'll take it. But conditions here, Tony and Betty, certainly are not going to get any better, even though we're on the good or clean side of the storm.
I like the way they put it, the better end of a bad deal.
Hey, Rob, Chad wants to talk to you.
Yeah, you just reported an east wind at 31 from regional southwest. Have you felt that kind of wind speed there, Rob?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd say that's about what it feels like. And you know what the one thing I've learned, Chad, I know you've experienced covering these storms, is that you kind of always, it's human nature to make it feel like it's worse than it actually is. So over the months and the past year or so, kind of been able to get a good gauge as to what the winds feel like, at least somewhat accurately. And yeah, 30 mile an hour wind gusts is about what we've been enduring here for the past half an hour. It's really picked up actually in the past half an hour, to the point where we're starting to look around going, what if things start to go flying around here? Where's our fallback position, or where's the safety spot? Where could we find a piece of shelter that may be a good spot for all of us to get down and wait for this thing to ride out? So
well, that's where I was
30
going
mile an
with
hour
this.
wind gusts.
Yeah, that's where I was going with this, Rob, is because when you're on the bad side, the dirty side, as Rob described it, your winds are always off the ocean. There's very little to pick up off the ocean except water and mist, and it looks like a snowstorm. But when the waves and the winds are coming your direction, Rob, offshore, you have a much greater potential of something disintegrating to the east of you, and that wind blowing those pieces to you. So I need you to really be careful of that. Although you're not going to get 115 mile per hour winds, you certainly could see 75 to 80 because of the size of the eye wall. It looks like the worst of the eye wall will be south of you, well south of you, into even Miami-Dade. But as the northern eye wall comes up very close to where you are, in fact, probably right up your river, the river that goes right through and into separating Cape Coral right up into Fort Myers, the whole area right there could easily see winds to 75, and that will start, as you said, starting to take shingles off, pieces of aluminum will start to fly, and any other debris that's not tied down will be coming at you from the land rather than nothing coming at you from the water.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because just before we started this live shot, I was looking up and above me and around to where there are, our buildings and there are palm trees, and there's a palm tree right about there, off camera, with palm fronds that, in this direction of the wind, could easily fly off and give me a little knock on the head. So we're watching that. We're watching that. But the Caloosahatchee River, as you mentioned, that pretty much rides just to the north of Fort Myers proper. That's a really wide river. There are a couple of good spots for us to report from, but as this forecast track chart started shifting south, we certainly wanted to give the folks and the viewers at home a little bit more of a taste than just a good, safe view. So we're here on the beach, and we'll take the precautions necessary, hopefully, to dodge any sort of flying debris. But we'll be here all night, Chad. Thanks for keeping us posted.
I suspect
Back to you
you'll
guys
be
in
on the
studio.
road tomorrow morning early, probably across the state, across the Alligator Alley, because there will probably be more damage from Key Biscayne up through South Dade, even into Fort Lauderdale, as the south side of the eye, the dangerous side of the eye, comes right across here. And so this almost having two landfalls, although not technically. Maybe the second would be called a city fall, because there are just a complete city now that stretches all the way from Key Biscayne, well, Homestead for that matter, Florida City, right on up even into West Palm. And there will be damage over there from 110-mile-per-hour winds. Rob, stay safe out there. Be careful.
Thanks, bud.
Okay,
Back to you guys.
Boy, Chad, before we lose you, Everglades City, that's in Collier County. Is that an area that, I believe that's south of Marco Island?
That is, that's probably Storm Surge City there, yeah.
Right there? Okay, when we come back, we'll take a break. We'll talk to the mayor of Everglades City. CNN is your hurricane headquarters all night and through the day as Wilma bears down on Florida. A break, and we're right back.
For tough stains, it's the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. It cleans food from the microwave and shoe scuffs from the floor. It erases soap scum from the bathtub. Then it's on to patio chairs and even car wheels. The Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Discover 1,001 places to clean. Pass it on.
Two journalists, 2 hours, 2 ways to see the story. Every night at 10, Newsnight. Aaron Brown, Anderson Cooper, CNN Monday night 10 Eastern.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbseal.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
Experience the terror of Screamland. Now through October 31st at Oaks Park. The largest haunted house attraction in the Northwest. It's a scream.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
You do want to trust CNN because CNN is your hurricane headquarters all night and through the day as Wilma comes ashore in Florida. South of Naples, Florida, Collier County's Everglades City is also under curfew tonight, and those who chose to stay in town are already feeling the wind and rain from this hurricane. The mayor, Sammy Hamilton, is one of them, and he joins me now by telephone. Mr. Mayor, as we look at the map and spoke with Chad Myers, it looks like Everglades City is really in the path of Wilma. What is the weather like there right now? What are the conditions?
Right now it's raining, not real hard, but I'm looking out the window. Looks like the wind is about 25, 30 miles an hour already.
As you hear that this storm makes its way on shore, and you hear the meteorologist talk about where it's going to come in, and even mention that Everglades City could be right there. There has been no definite answer as to exactly where, but Everglades City is in the path. What kind of precautions have you taken?
Well, we've been over a week, maybe longer, that I definitely take this very seriously because I was caught in the city hall in 1960 in Hurricane Donna, and that was bad. We had about 12 feet of water in the city.
Goodness.
So we're at sea level, and I started, like I say, 10 days ago probably, and got the motor homes and people like that to fuel up and get out of here. We went to the trailer parks in low areas and got most of them out, and looks like all of them's out. So we, like I say, we're well prepared. I've been working with the county, Collier County emergency people, sheriff's department, fire department, and we got our fire department in the city, but they moved out today to high land, which is about 12, 14 miles here. Just take a few minutes to get back in when we need it. And if the water goes down, whatever. And we're well prepared. Not
So
taking
for
it
those
lightly.
who decided to stay home, if they are in dire need, it's going to take some time to get to them after this storm comes ashore.
Well, actually, I really worked very hard. We have a little small TV channel, we call it, for our local area.
Uh-huh.
And for 10 days, I'll keep putting it on there, just steady day and night for everybody to see, and how dangerous this could be. And so I'm really happy at least 95% of the people left out of town.
Mayor, I'm going to ask you to stand by for a moment because meteorologist Chad Myers is here, and he has a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, there is a tornado warning for western Collier County. Now, the storm that we're seeing that does have the rotation appears like it may move just a few miles west of Everglades City into Goodland, Royal Palm, Hammock, Marco Island, even into Naples and North Naples, if it indeed hangs together. Doppler indicating rotation on that storm right there. My question to you is, what does the topography of your town look like? If there's a storm surge that's forecast to be 8 to 14 feet, well, after that, what does your town look like? How far above sea level are you?
Well, actually, sir, we're actually right at sea level. That is we can handle the wind, but the water kills us.
Yeah.
We're right at sea level, so if this all happens the way they're saying, Everglades City will be in pretty bad shape.
Are you in a safe place?
I'm in a very safe place. And, but I tried to I got everybody else out.
Well, we know that is almost what we would call ground zero of, and just to the south of there, of the storm surge, Betty and Mr. Mayor. So anywhere from Everglades City right on down into Florida Bay, that's where that biggest 8 to 14 feet will be.
Right.
So how did you convince everybody to get out? Was it because you said, look, we are at sea level, you need to go, or what was it?
Well, that's it. I explained to them, and everyone knows me in this area, and I told them like it was. I'm taking this very seriously. We are at sea level, and this happens. We're going to have so much water in the city, and the water is what kills us. The wind we can handle, but the water destroys everything.
Well, the other bad news for you, Mr. Mayor, is that this storm actually comes in at your high tide, which
yes,
doesn't help at all.
Definitely. Our high tide will be around 7:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And that's going to make it worse. So people listen very good, and like I said, we have this little small channel that we have for the local area here on TV. I had everything on there, like get the motorhomes out of here early, gas up, get them out of here. Then we got the low areas, the trailer parks, and areas like that. We got them all out. I checked that this afternoon before I came home, and everyone's out of the trailer parks.
You said that 5% or maybe 95% are gone, 5% are left. How many do you add up? How many people are still here?
I'd say about 20 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we worked hard, and we didn't take it easy, and did a good job. Well prepared. We had buses come in today from 10 to 12.
Oh, wow.
Picking up people. It didn't have no transportation.
Where did you send them?
People up in Golden Gate area, Mockley areas, and the colleges, stuff in that area. And like I said, I hadn't slept, and I won't be sleeping until it's over with.
Well, that makes a few of us, sir.
Going to see that his city is taken care of.
All right. Well, you be very safe because you are in a dangerous place there.
I know,
Everglades City.
Yes.
Wow. Betty?
He is obviously very aware of the situation and what is coming ashore, and you can hear it in his voice though. He understands how serious this is, but at the same time, when Chad, and this is what I noted, when Chad asked him, are you in a safe place, there's a little bit of a pause.
There was.
He said, yes I am, and we do wish him the best, but good news is, he said 95% of the town is out of there, about 20 people left behind. Boy, our hearts and minds are with those 20 people, especially with a high tide and the storm surge that's coming ashore. That place is at sea level.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. All right, we're going to take a break, and as we do, a couple of pictures here. Fort Myers, Marco Island, Naples, Florida as well. There you are, labeled for you. We'll look at what Hurricane Wilma did to Cancun, Mexico. Have you seen these pictures? After the break, CNN is your hurricane headquarters all night and through the day as Wilma bears down on Florida.
The whole world knows my secret. It's Steinmart. You could get everything you need in one great place. Steinmart has a huge variety packed into one building. Beautiful ceramics, earrings, housewares, golf shirts, all those good things. They have amazing clothes at Steinmart. Steinmart has all the latest trends. Everything in there is in fashion. Friends ask me, where'd you get that? Steinmart. And then they ask me how much I paid for it. You don't want to know how much you paid for it. Less than what you paid for yours.
Steinmart. Once you go, you get it.
I'm going to find at least 5 things that I have to take home with me. Beauty is ageless. My secret?
Age Perfect Double Action. It's more than just a moisturizer. 1 with Elastium de-crinkle skin surface. 2 with pure vitamin C illuminates skin.
Smoother and decrinkled.
Age Perfect Double Action treatment from L'Oreal Paris.
What tobacco issues are important to you?
The health effects. That's what I'm concerned about.
The fact is, there is no safe cigarette. Lights and ultralights are no exception. And to reduce the health effects of smoking, the best thing to do is to quit. At philipmorrisusa.com, you can find information from public health authorities on the dangers of smoking and links to help smokers who've decided to quit. Find out more. Visit philipmorrisusa.com.
Hi, can you tell me, how are the rooms at that hotel?
Very nice curtains and TV and video games.
Uh-huh. And the rooms at your hotel?
There's a bed and some table.
Right.
Want to compare hotels side by side? Send in the experts at Hotels.com. Only they offer property comparison tools where you choose your hotels, then compare features like pools, restaurants, services, and more. Log on or call now for great deals everywhere. Hotels.com. We know hotels inside and out. Go!
Look at this.
It's awesome. And I love being a trader. Living for the moment, baby.
Is that all we're about? I mean, I love being a trader, but I also have an investing side. Like, I want to open a B&B.
B&B?
Time to embrace your investing side. At Ameritrade, you'll find products and services to help you plan and invest for your goals.
I have been thinking about opening a dance school. Let's see some moves.
Join now and get up to 35 free trades and $100 cash.
CNN is your hurricane headquarters all through the night and the day as Wilma bears down on Florida.
Trio of live shots now, live pictures. Fort Myers, Marco Island, Naples, Florida. We've got a new concern now. Really concerned about the mayor and the people of Everglades City. About 20 left.
That's what he said, 20
Everyone
were
else is
still
pretty
there.
much-
He said about 95% of the people got out, and they brought in buses to get them out. But you could hear in his voice,
Yeah, you
there
really
was
could.
worry there.
Really could. So, all right, we're going to keep an eye on, maybe we can just sort of, maybe
Check
every
in
hour or
with
so,
him.
just sort of check and see how things
that's
are
a good
going
idea.
there at Everglades City. Wilma's extended stay over the resort area of Cancun has left the popular Mexican vacation spot a huge mess. CNN's Susan Candiotti reports on the damage as well as efforts to help the thousands of stranded tourists.
The Mexican government ordered that thousands and thousands of people who had been staying at hotels along the white sandy beaches of Cancun get out of there before the storm hit, and many of them were brought to this school. It's a complex of many buildings, but some of them didn't make out very well during the storm. That building in particular lost its roof. However, a lot of the hotel staff also came out here along with the hotel guests to try to cook for them, to try to give them water and take care of them as best they can. But the conditions, of course, not entirely perfect. Do you want to tell me what it's been like for you?
It's been very comforting, really, because the people here have taken really good care of us. They're doing all they can do. They're providing us with food, water. Just excellent for the conditions and the situation, I think.
And can you tell me, ma'am, what it was like when the storm hit? Describe it.
Very frightening. You couldn't see outside. You could hear the wind blowing, could hear things hitting the building. But basically, we were pretty safe inside.
All right, let's walk up a little farther here and show you they've got some buses over here where people were not only brought here, but they've been trying to bring in extra water, extra food to make sure that they can try to take care of these guests as best as is possible. Where are you folks from over here?
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis.
Yes.
What was it like to ride through the storm?
It was terrible. It was very frightening. It just continued, just constantly. It was like for like 7 and 8 hours, just the pounding and the wind, and it was very terrifying, very frightening.
And of course, no one has any idea, right, ma'am, when you're going to get out?
Not a clue. We don't know anything. As far as we know, the airports are all down. There's no communication. Nobody's got any cells going. And basically, we're just on a waiting game.
As the hurricane came through, power shut down, obviously water. There isn't any to be had for bathing. But it usually takes 3 days. This is what happens. And people did have to evacuate the hotels that are located on the beach. Those are uninhabitable at this time. So, of course, some of the remaining questions: when will the airport be able to open so some of these tourists can get out? How will residents do? There's a lot of cleanup to be done. People here say there is hope, and it will happen, and they do plan on bringing Cancun back eventually. Susan Candiotti, CNN, Cancun, Mexico.
Well, the latest Hurricane Wilma stats are these. The eye of the storm is less than 100 miles southwest of Naples, Florida. Wilma is moving to the northeast at 18 miles an hour.
Most of South Florida is feeling and seeing Hurricane Wilma. CNN, your hurricane headquarters, with reporters all across the state. Take a look. Rob Marciano is in Fort Myers Beach. Gene Meserve is in Naples. John King is at Marco Island, and Gary Tuckman is in Key West. So we are keeping you up to date with the very latest on the movement of Wilma.
Let's check in now with CNN severe weather expert Chad Myers. And Chad, I think it was your interview and Betty's interview with the mayor of Everglades City. Now I'm terribly concerned about those folks there. I know there aren't many people there left, but the mayor is there. About 20 folks are there, and I don't know, I'm just...
So are they right there in the path as this comes ashore? I mean, is that going to be the point at which she makes land?
A little bit farther to the north is where the landfall is going to be, which means that area is just right in the teeth of the storm surge. So, the only thing I didn't ask the guy was, how come you didn't leave?
Yeah.
I just felt that his pride as mayor wouldn't have, I didn't even want to go there because I didn't want to.
He's got to protect the city.
Exactly.
He's the captain of the ship.
Well, there you go. Let's hope that's only in tongue in cheek there. Yes. Key West, Fort Myers, right on back through and into Everglades City, which is right there. We'll get to a couple more spots for you here as well. A couple things going on tonight now. The storm is very wide. Although we didn't get that tight eye wall, we don't have a Category 5 storm. It's a Category 3 at 115. In fact, the storm, the hurricane wind field, is still just as big as it was when it was south of Cancun. You just don't have that tight little eye in the middle, so you don't have those winds that are 150 or something like that. This is still a very dangerous storm, especially for the east coast of Florida, as it comes on shore tonight and rolls right across the Everglades. And as it does, it's not going to lose any strength. Look at this, Key West. I want to see the live shot from Gary Tuckman right there. This is just about to go down as bad as we've seen it for Key West. I want John King to know. I know you're listening out there, John. There's a tornado warning for right where you are. Watch out yourself to the south because that's the way this storm is coming at you. It's coming from south to north at 60 miles per hour. So if you see something or hear something, you need to get out of the way and don't be shy of missing anything. Just be safe out there. This is a significant weather maker. It's going to be going downhill now as the whole area moves right through and into the Everglades. I want to take you one more place. I want to take you to something called the loop current. Here's my blue wall. That's what it looks like. There really isn't anything behind me. Here's the map, though, that we just showed how the storm now, just to the north of Cuba, not that far west of Key West, moving right across the state. Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, here's the Yucatan Peninsula. Why did the storm get to a Category 5 in the first place? It's because of the warm water, high-octane water to the south of Cancun. The numbers here are wind speeds, 165, 173, and then right up into Cancun at 155. The storm stalled a little bit over Cancun, but now it is into the warm water again. That's why it got stronger again. As we move it farther to the east, which is right about that black dot right there, the storm is going to slide into cooler water and not intensify anymore. So we're not expecting this to go to much stronger than where it is now at 115, but that's still major hurricane damage, especially from Fort Myers all the way across the state, all the way through this kind of a farming area. Down here, this is the Everglades, and then from West Palm down to Fort Lauderdale, right even into Miami-Dade, under the gun of this southern eye wall. Look at this, southern eye wall is going to smash into Key West, right across Florida Bay, through Homestead, Florida City, and right into South Dade County. So you guys got to be careful. This entire area probably could see wind speeds over 100, and it's going to finally be gone by noon tomorrow, but it'll have a swath of damage.
By noon tomorrow, gone.
Moving fast.
History.
Wow.
All right, Chad, we'll check in with you soon.
Or noon today, I guess, because it's already 2:30.
That's true. It is 2:30 in the morning, even though it is overnight. All right. You mentioned John King, Chad. We're going to check in with him right now. He is in Marco Island. And, John, when he mentioned the fact that, hey, on top of all that you're facing right now, get ready because there is the threat of tornado, you smiled a little bit. It's almost like, hey, what more can you bring my way?
Well, the winds are picking up a bit, Betty. You know, last time Chad Myers yelled at me on the air, we were down in Sabine Pass when Rita was about to come ashore in Texas, so we got out of there in time. It is more windy out here. I just took a walk a minute ago down to the beach. One of the big issues, of course, is the storm surge, and one of the things that complicates it a bit is that it's going to be high tide when this hurricane, when Wilma comes ashore and hits here, probably to the south by all expectations now, but the tide is already starting to get quite high, and we're still a couple hours away from landfall, so that will complicate the surge and the flooding conditions. One of the things local officials were worried about. Chad mentioned that tornado warning. We're obviously trying to keep in touch with local officials. The police are still out on the streets here in Marco Island. The fire department says they had one emergency call at 6 o'clock this evening. It was a fire-related call, not related to the hurricane. So far they're quite happy here. And again, they think about 90% of the people are gone, so only about 2,000 people left on this island. The power is still up. You have these periods like this. This is relative calm, at least given the past 4 or 5 hours. Torrential downpour, swirling winds, and then a period like this where it's just raining and the winds die down for at least a few minutes. Relative peace, Betty, as we await what is just a few hours away.
Yeah, but you know it's not going to last very long at all, John. Hey, you mentioned...
There we go. It didn't last.
Yeah, of course. I'll try not to say that too often, so hopefully it won't continue to happen. You mentioned the emergency personnel that were out and about. Are they still out and about, or has this become a point where they're going to say, I'm headed inside until after the storm comes ashore?
They've stopped trying to evacuate anybody at nightfall. They wanted everyone to get out by this afternoon. We do still see some police patrols, very limited. This is a very small police department. We're on a small island. During the week, they shut down late in the evening, and their calls are forwarded to Collier County. And the police department is here, obviously, for emergency response, but they shut down at times. They're still patrolling, 1 or 2 police cars driving around. We saw 1 or 2 when we went out just before curfew at 10 o'clock. And they also have a redundant emergency operations center, if you will. It is set up, the main one, at the fire department headquarters. We visited there this morning. They also have a backup at a hotel just, maybe 200 yards this way, the way I'm pointing, past our hotel and up the road a little bit, in case their power goes out or in case there's any flooding up at the fire department. They have a backup set up as well. And again, they said they would keep some limited police patrols out on the streets until they thought the conditions were too unsafe. And we just checked in a short time ago, and they said there were still some police rolling around. Most, though, are using a hotel just up the street as a temporary barracks. They were told to report there at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and they were told once the storm hits, they could be on duty around the clock.
All right, John King, thank you. Stay safe out there. We'll be checking in with you as well shortly. Well, Wilma is a Category 3 storm, and no doubt, it is huge. Look at the radar right there in your bottom right-hand corner. This is a big storm. From central Florida to the Keys, residents will see strong winds, heavy rains, and even possible tornadoes. So our coverage now shifts over to Naples, Florida, and our Jean Meserve, who has been there over the past few hours, bracing herself and enduring all that is coming her way. Things have really picked up in your area, Jean.
Yeah, it's intermittent. It'll get very strong in terms of winds and wind and rain, and then it'll fade out again. I've been watching the water here. I've been sort of watching its progress with these bushes here, and I will tell you that just within the last 10 minutes or so, some of the wave action is starting to come above there. Nothing very significant yet, but it definitely is coming up a bit, perhaps because of the tide, perhaps because of the surge. I can't sort one from the other at this point in time and from this place. I'll tell you that the waves figured into a conversation I had earlier today down in Everglades City. Everglades City, of course, getting a lot of attention right now because that's West, where we think they're going to get a very bad storm surge. I was talking to a guy named Speedy Johnson down there. He runs a airboat business. He was talking about the fact that there are barrier islands between Everglades City and the Gulf, and he felt that those were going to protect him from this sort of punishing wave action that comes in. Well, that's probably true, but apparently it's not going to keep them from the surge. As you've heard, that may be as high as 14 feet in Everglades City when all is said and done. Another thing that's been discussed a lot tonight is the evacuation. Here in Collier County, they called for a voluntary evacuation in the middle of last week. It became mandatory on Friday afternoon, and people were supposed to be out by 8 o'clock this morning. That had some real advantages in that it was a very gradual thing, people leaving the county, and so you didn't have things like clogged evacuation routes, you didn't have shortages of fuel at the pumps, stores were able to bring in resupplies, so empty shelves, if you encountered them, usually were full by the next day. So there definitely were some real pluses to the fact that that the storm lingered over Mexico and they had all this extra time to get people out of town. The downside, of course, was that people started to get frustrated. They started to feel that their lives were very much disrupted and put on hold. I was talking to one individual who said, heck, we don't even know where to go if we were going to leave here because we aren't sure of what the storm track is going to be and whether we should go north or south. So some people just threw up their hands in the end and decided to stay put. So there are a significant number of people here, although the county says they haven't been able to give us an exact percentage on what percentage of people evacuated and who stayed behind. But it looks like Naples will avoid the very worst of this. Oh, look, as we speak, water has come up here. This little runoff here, this probably went 3 or 4 feet beyond anything else I've seen out here this evening. An indication, guys, that this is getting a little bit worse where I am. Back to you.
All right, Jean, we're going to let you go for now, but obviously the situation is getting worse where you are, and we'll be checking in as Wilma comes ashore. Heavy rain is pelting the Florida Keys, and wind gusts up to 75 miles an hour are whipping Key West. Only a few thousand of Key West's 28,000 residents evacuated. We're told about only 20% evacuated, that 80% are still there. And Wilma may make those who stayed behind regret it. The hurricane is about 100 miles to the west right now. So Hurricane Wilma may make landfall about 4 hours from now. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, but Collier County, Florida, seems to be in the storm site. Ted Risnar, a resident of Marco Island, elected, this is what he decided to do, to hunker down and have a bit of a hurricane party. He joins us on the phone, and Ted, a hurricane party, really?
Not really. There was a few of us that decided to stay. If the storm got to a Category 4 or 5, would have definitely left, but as it was coming across the Gulf at a 2, we decided to stay. We're staying at a friend of mine's house. His house is about 28 feet above sea level. We're just basically worried about the storm surge more than anything else.
Hey, Ted, Tony Harris with Betty, and I'm just curious, are you starting to second guess, I'm sure you've been watching the coverage, are you starting to second guess this decision to stay and ride it out?
Again, there's 8 of us that decided to stay. We're all contractors on the island. We figured that everything basically we own is here, and our businesses are here. I've got a couple of barges out sitting in some of the back bays here that are worth close to $500,000, and if I have to get there, I have to get there. But that'll be basically after the storm goes through. But we also felt that once we left the island, we wouldn't be getting back for a long time after what we saw happen last year with Charlie, and the indecisiveness of some of the, you saw it with the city council last year as Hurricane Charlie in Fort Myers Beach. They just took forever to let people back into their houses. People took a beating.
Yeah, that was sort of my follow-up, and then Chad wants to talk to you as well. I'm wondering, for so many people, one of the stories that we're hearing is that once you leave, folks don't let you come back. They don't let you come back, and that leaves your home and everything you own sort of vulnerable to whomever.
Right, and that's our biggest fear. This house that we're staying at, a good friend of mine, Hayden Warren, we're staying at his house, well-constructed house. We're not worried about too many things happening here. He's a builder on the island. I have a marine company. We have landscapers that are staying here. We've got it pretty well covered. We've got enough water to last us 2 weeks, food to last us a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We've got heavy equipment here by the side of his house. We can take care of ourselves, but our biggest fear is once we leave, we weren't coming back, and it just opens it up to so many possibilities of things that could happen.
Ted, Chad wants to talk to you.
Go ahead, Chad.
Do you hear the tornado warning? Because there is a tornado warning going off. Do you hear the sirens?
No. Not up here, we don't. Actually, our power just went out. We've lost all power just now as we were speaking. This is the first we've heard of the tornadoes other than what we see on TV.
Well, all right.
Obviously, some places can't hear the sirens, but you need to really be careful because this is a tornado-bearing storm for sure, way out ahead of the eye. Here's the storm that's causing that tornado warning. There's Marco Island, probably 3 miles away, Tony.
Okay, all right. Ted, we're going to check back with you maybe next hour just to see how you're doing.
Right, and the 8 people that are with you,
Thanks, Ted.
going to check and make sure that you're safe. And that tornado warning, there are a lot of things associated with Wilma.
Well, let me just say this. We're going to check in with Gary Tuckman.
Who's in the thick of it right now.
There's
Power's
his shot.
out where he is.
Yeah, that's his shot right now. And this storm, as Chad has been telling us, is really beating up on Key West right now. We'll find out how Gary is doing, take a break, and come right back. CNN is your hurricane headquarters all night through the day as Wilma bears down on Florida. We'll be right back.
CNN next. As Hurricane Wilma bears down on the Gulf Coast, how will the South handle another monster storm? The latest on Larry King Live, next on CNN.
If you have one of these, you can save lots of this on auto insurance by using one of these to call Unitrin Direct. Unitrin Direct Auto Insurance is available in Oregon. You could save hundreds of dollars or more without sacrificing service.
Yes, Unitrin Direct Auto Insurance is available in Oregon. That means you can save up to 20% or more on auto insurance. But unlike those cut-rate companies, you don't have to give up service. In fact, you'll have your own team of professionals to answer your questions or handle your claims. You don't have to give up security either. We're part of the top-rated Unitrin Insurance family with over 70 years of experience and over $7 billion in assets. Call this number now for a free, no-obligation rate quote and see how much you could save.
So if you think your auto insurance rates are too high, call Unitrin Direct now for a free no-obligation rate quote and see just how much money you could save. The right price, the right protection, the right choice. Unitrin Direct.
Call 1-800-538-0872 now.
It's time to cash in on a winning pair from Comcast. Call 1-866-SO-FAST-1 to get America's #1 high-speed internet for just $19.99 per month. And Comcast Digital Voice with unlimited local and long-distance calling for only $24.99 a month. That's less than $45 a month for the pair. Plus, order both services during this 2-week sale and get free professional installation. Win big with Comcast. Call 1-866-SO-FAST-1 by October 31st and save over $300.
Good evening. At 9:17 this morning, the future arrived years earlier than predicted. The future. What is it?
High-speed internet. Faster downloads.
It's a video mail.
Digo, gracias, futuro. Puedo detener la televisión vivo y
I mean, until the aliens get here, I'm happy with the, with the high def. The movies on demand.
There's the future, and then there's the future.
Well, which
and
one
this,
are we?
This is the future.
The future of television and internet is here. It's Comcast.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
A lot. CNN is your hurricane headquarters all night and through the day as Wilma bears down on Florida. Take a look at these pictures, Tony.
Okay, Betty, let's put the technology to work here. Let's go left to right. Top row first. Fort Myers. Marco Island in the center there. Naples. Key West. Miami. Isla Morada. Look at this. This is the storm. All of these locations right now getting hammered. You see Gary Tuckman there. Lower left corner of your screen. Let's go there now. Can we pull him out of that box? Let's pull him out of that box. There he is. Gary Tuckman, you, my friend, are getting pounded.
Tony, just let me ask you, am I out of the box yet?
You're yes, you're out.
All right, I'm out of the box. That's good news, because if I'm getting pounded, at least we want the viewers to see it. And I will tell you that what's the most incredible thing to me right now is that this morning was a beach day. All weekend here in Key West, despite the fact that there were hurricane watches and warnings and mandatory evacuations, I witnessed over the last 2 days on my rollerblading throughout this town to observe what was going on. People playing beach volleyball, and we're about to lose a fence here. People playing beach volleyball. People swimming in the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico, which is on both sides of Key West. People jogging a short time ago. People bicycling on this street only about 3 or 4 hours ago. Things have changed dramatically. Hurricane force winds now. We still have our power up, which we're happy about, but for the last 2.5 hours, most of Key West, if not all of Key West by now, has been without power. Moderate flooding in different parts of the city, but parts of the city that get flooded during any storm. This street here, Duval Street right now, the main street in downtown Key West, not flooded yet. I'm quite amazed at the lack of damage so far, despite the hurricane force winds. I can tell you during Katrina in Gulfport, Mississippi, where I was, and during Rita in Beaumont and Port Arthur, Texas, when we got winds like this, we had tremendous amount of damage already. So I think these particular stores in this tourist area are particularly well built. But I can't tell you at this point, police have stopped patrolling the streets because it's now too dangerous. Most of the 28,000 people who live in Key West are still in their homes. They did not evacuate, and they've been told they're on their own at this point. Storm surge is expected to be at least 8 feet by the time this is all over. The elevation's only 1.5 feet. That's a great concern. And right now, they are on their own, the people who didn't evacuate. The people who did evacuate, most of them are at a shelter at Florida International University, which is in Miami, 150 miles away, and that's a major reason that people didn't want to evacuate, because it was so far away. There's no safe shelter to stay at in the Keys, and therefore there are no shelters in the Keys. Tony?
Okay, Gary, stay right where you are, and I just want to explain to folks that you're looking in the double box here, you're looking at the reporter from WFOR, our affiliate servicing Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Both of you guys, Gary, are just getting, well, you're getting hammered by this thing. And are you getting horizontal rain at this point?
We're getting horizontal rain, vertical rain, diagonal rain, crossword puzzle rain, every direction. It's coming down. It's coming down pretty hard.
Okay, and Chad Myers is with us now. And Chad, I don't know what the wind speeds are now, but I'll throw it to you, and you can tell us what it is exactly that Gary and this reporter from WFOR, what they're dealing with right now.
Yeah, that's probably 90 now. Now that's getting serious, and you really need to have some kind of eye protection out there, because things start to fly around. And there's Key West right there. We'll get you very, very close to the storm. We'll zoom right in here for you to Key West. And this is really the outer band, Gary. You are in the outer band of the eye wall. There's still an inner band of an eye wall, but you are really in it now. We suspected that Key West would get the eye wall, and you are really now going to see the wind go from what you're probably seeing now, 80 to 90 to possibly that 115. You really could get that 115 sustained wind gust that this storm is all about. The Category 3 gust coming for, and sustained wind coming for you rather quickly. Be careful out there.
Thanks, Chad, and that's why we keep a close eye on the buildings surrounding us, and we marvel at the fact that we haven't seen any of the parts of the roofs or the sides of the building peeling, because that is a sign for us to seek a spot elsewhere. But right now, the buildings seem to be doing well, and that's our major enemy, the buildings across the street. Right to my right, to your left, we have a very sturdy hotel that we trust greatly. It's been here for, I think if I'm not mistaken, 79 years. It's done very well all those years with all the storms that have come close by. So we feel very comfortable in this spot.
Scary about the debris, because we've seen you dodge a few things. Are you seeing more and more items really get picked up by this wind?
Oh, including Gary.
That's very funny. And I use the term loosely funny, but there's another reporter here from another TV station who who fell down and started rolling over towards me. Oh. So he was like a bowling ball, and I was going to be the pin. I thought he was going to roll over me. But no, there've been bags, plastic and garbage blowing into me, but nothing serious at this point.
Besides other reporters.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, try to get out of the wind if you can at all possible. But as you know, we're going to ask you to get right back in it in a little bit as we check in with you. Gary Tuckman in Key West. Ooh, look at those winds. Chad said, what, 90?
Yeah, 80,
Probably
90
pretty close
mile
to
per hour.
90 there, guys.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
I mean, I've been out in those things enough to know that if you can't stand up, if you can't lean yourself up against it, that's probably 90. Tornado warning for Osceola County, northern Osceola, for the town of Kissimmee here by about 3:30. Now, I know that's 35 minutes away, but there is significant rotation here. There's Orlando, there's the storm. Here's the track actually coming in from the southeast to the northwest at 20 miles per hour, and right under that, you can't see it, but that's where Kissimmee would be. So be careful if you're in that area too. Probably already hearing the sirens for that northern Osceola County or Osceola, depending where you're from, but my parents live around there, so that's how I say it.
Chad, you want to see something
Yeah, take a look at
absolutely
this.
silly?
Oh
my Lord.
Yeah.
You see it? You see the picture?
Marco Island with a
Marco
tornado
Island.
warning going right now. Yeah.
That's
okay.
All right. That's
all right, Pete. Don't do that at home.
That's just not
don't do that in the water.
Right. Okay. Let's go. We want to listen in to. We've been monitoring our affiliates. WFOR is one of our affiliates servicing Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Let's listen in to this reporter and sort of live in Key West. Okay, in Key West.
And it's probably the most powerful light that we have out here at this point. That light, as you can see the individual droplets of rain as they blow through. And some of those droplets are larger droplets, but the large ones don't hurt you. The small ones feel like little bits of sand that's slamming you right in the face.
And that's what you get. You get the horizontal rain, and and it does. It just comes in on you, and it just beats away at you.
And he says feels like little pellets hitting him. And look at that tree right there. I mean, these winds are really whipping through the area. Horizontal rain, wind, Category 3 hurricane named Wilma coming ashore. Key West is feeling it right now. And that timeline when Wilma is supposed to hit Florida. This is just the beginning of it. This isn't even the brunt of it yet. It's supposed to hit between 6 and 7 Eastern time this morning, not too long from now. So we are going to be here waiting and watching as Wilma comes ashore.
You know what, Betty? We're standing by waiting for the 3 a.m. hurricane advisory from the National Hurricane Center. And as soon as we get that, Chad will bring it to us all. CNN is your hurricane headquarters all night and all through the day as Wilma, in full force now,
Full force,
bears down on Florida.
They are the kings and queens, the potentates of the road. We recognize them by their restless wing-tipped feet. We support them with new, thicker mattresses and lay the freshest fine white linens at their feet. An offering of respect. Our beds, ourselves, we've changed it all for them. Rest well, my liege. Rest well.
At Geico.com, you can handle all your car insurance needs online. It's so easy, a caveman could do it.
Seriously, we apologize. We had no idea you guys were still around.
Yeah, next time maybe do a little research.
Gentlemen, are we ready to order?
I'll have the roast duck with the mango salsa. I don't have much of an appetite, thank you.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Who would ever think that the waste we generate could generate enough green energy to power an entire community? Who would think that neighborhood playing fields could share common ground with a working landfill? We would. We're Waste Management, and we're partnering with communities to create places we can all be proud to call home. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
For tough stains, it's the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. It cleans food from the microwave and shoe scuffs from the floor. It erases soap scum from the bathtub. Then it's on to patio chairs and even car wheels. The Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Discover 1,001 places to clean. Pass it on.
Dad, you know how you like to be everywhere I am? Now you can be.
With Family Talk from Singular. Add a line for just $9.99 and get exclusive phones like the Black Razor and Rocker with iTunes. Singular, raising the bar.
Covering grays has never been easier. Your Excellence Cream has this professional root applicator in every box, so you can easily comb grays away and get beautiful, even color from root to tip. Excellence Cream from L'Oreal. What will they think of next?
Just trying to give you as complete a picture as we can of the situation in Florida right now. All right.